year. And if we can all rise and salute our flag with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, if we could have a roll call, please.
Mr. Conway.
Present.
Ms. Doherty.
Present.
Ms. Fattacante.
Here.
Mr. Leahy.
Here.
Mr. Leary.
Here.
Ms. Martin.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
7 present.
If we could accept the minutes of December 19th and the minutes of the inauguration on January 7th.
Motion to accept the minutes, Your Honor.
Motion to accept those minutes from Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Conway. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All approve. The minutes are accepted. Permission to enter, Madam.
How about the inauguration?
Yeah,
Take them both together? Okay. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
I think we're on permission to enter. We have one contract that I'm asking the committee to enter into this evening for Greater Lawrence Educational Collaborative, a contract in the amount of $80,550, which is to amend an existing contract to provide additional services for occupational and speech and language therapy according to students' special education, i.e. Individual education plans. It's funding provided by the Special Education Department budget, a combination of local and grant funds.
Move approval.
Move approval by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Ms. Martin. Roll call.
Sorry, wait a minute, 1 second. Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Memorials brought forward by Ms. Fattacante. First, we'd like to have a moment of silence with darkened chambers for Paul P. Gagnon, husband of Colleen Brown Gagnon, special education nurse at the Lincoln School. Second is Joseph M. Joe Harrigan, brother of Patrick Harrigan, Lowell High School senior custodian. And 3, Rita M. Durfee Benham, mother-in-law of Joyce Tapper Benham, professional development coordinator. We can all rise, please, with darkened chambers. Thank you. May they rest in peace. Under unfinished business, I believe we have to have a suspension of the rules, Madam Clerk, to bring in
back
the
2 motions
2
on the
motions.
floor.
Your Honor, motion to suspend the rules, please.
Motion to suspend the rules by Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Suspension is in order. We have 2 motions. We have public participation too, and we certainly want everyone who is here to come to the microphone and be part of this participation, and this public participation is very, very important. And let me just interject. We do have 2 motions, and I talked to the school committee, and I will give you 14,000 reasons why we must have a good process and make sure that we hire the next superintendent of these Lowell schools and make sure that person is the best qualified candidate. And at this point in time, I would like to thank Superintendent Carla Brooks Baer for years of dedicated service to the children of Lowell and the Lowell public school system. Superintendent, thank you very much for your dedication. We wish you well. The first motion that is going to be presented to the school committee is by Mr. Leary. And Mr. Leary, why don't you present your motion, please?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank you for the opportunity. I guess it would be laugh out loud and knee slapping if I thought this was actually my motion unto myself. There was probably a colleague or two that were involved with it, as well as many other folks, including, former superintendents, former deputy superintendents, people who are owning their own businesses. The current superintendent and I actually had a good discussion regarding what folks were trying to put in place. It also would be presumptuous to think that any one individual or a combination of individuals with an integration of ideas would speak for the school committee in terms of how this process would go forward. So I fully acknowledge and accept and I'm thankful that every member of this committee will have a lot of input to put their efforts forward. Without going into it's a dissertation. I don't think the mayor would still be reading it tomorrow if he had to read every word in it. It's that long. I do have two areas where it's very important to me. The first area, I strongly feel that we should be searching for a candidate for superintendent to come forward that is going to be a leader, not only in the educational setting in the city, but also within the city, and uniting a lot, or being part of and uniting a lot of outside forces in terms of the business community, the nonprofit community, as well as the educational community. And I think in order to do that search process, I think it's imperative that we actually invite people to apply. I'm happy and I'm glad that we have a process in place where we had advertisements in the local papers, Monster.com, et cetera, and other superintendent periodicals. But I think it's also important that we utilize expertise like UMass Lowell in searching folks out that may be of interest to become a superintendent in the city of Lowell. So I think one of the areas that I'm very open to changing any part of this document that I helped to work on. I'm wide open to that. But one of the areas that my vote will be backing up is actually taking the time to actually invite and research people to apply, as opposed to just waiting for resumes to come in, although that's a part of the process. Again, I acknowledge and I accept, I guess I look forward to the committee's discussion on this. I look forward to probably a couple of meetings regarding how this process will work. It is the most important process that we'll be doing in our entire, well, at least in my career as a school committee member, and I look forward to a respectful dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leary. And as you well know, that there are two motions, and we will vote on the two motions and second the motions after we hear Mr. Conway's proposal. And both of these motions have much merit. Both of these motions can be a yardstick for the Personnel Subcommittee to define this and restructure it and bring it back to the committee. And hopefully we can come up with something that the entire community will be happy with. Mr. Conway.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to congratulate Mr. Leary in his explanation of the superintendent search process. I know that I also worked with a number of individuals on this process, and especially Mr. Leary. And I think that we agreed approximately about 95%. And I think that's where the difference is on the two motions. But I certainly agree on the philosophy, and that is to make sure that this is certainly a very open process. It's an inclusive process, but I think most important that we need an effective process. And I think that's what everyone here wants to do, because we want to pick the very best person for the job. In order to do that, we certainly need the input from a number of different individuals, organizations, and I think this is an intricate part of this process. Who is going to be on this process? Who will be part of the screening committee? I think this is where we're going to seek the input from the school committee. And again, I consider this as simply a template. We need to put something on the table here so we can work with, and I'm sure that each and every one of us have much to say in this process, and I think that we will end up picking the very best person for the job. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I would like to applaud both members of the committee for taking that leadership role, and I know the other members of the committee have also been involved, and you could always say the old cliche, we're all in this together. Mr. Leary?
If my colleague, Mr. Conway, would agree, I would like to really amend my motion and have it simply forwarded to the Personnel Subcommittee for additional dialogue. I know that other members tonight should give their thoughts and opinions on that, but I think since we've worked on it probably a whole month of December, I think other folks are going to want to make some amendments, changes, what have you, and I think at this point I would amend my motion, if my colleague would agree, to send it to the Personnel Subcommittee for additional dialogue. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Why don't we take a vote on Mr. Leary's motion, seconded by Ms. Fattacani. Roll call on Mr. Leary's motion, then we'll, yes.
What I'm doing is amending my motion to really just forward it to the Personnel Subcommittee for additional discussion. I would be, I guess, Mayor, what I'm saying is it's really to say that my document would be the be-all, end-all document.
We're going to take Mr. Conway's motion, so we're going to accept and vote on these two motions, so we can send it to the Personnel Subcommittee.
So we're going to send these, we're going to send these
Second
motions.
Mr. Leary's motion for
Okay.
consideration.
Second Mr. Leary's motion. All in favor of Mr. Leary's motion signify by saying
Aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Your motion carries. Mr. Conway, seconded by Ms. Doherty. All in favor of Mr. Conway's motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both motions carry. Ms. Fattacani.
May I make a suggestion at this point in time and ask that both motions be submitted to the Personnel Subcommittee so that both motions can be looked at in conjunction
Definitely.
with one another, the best sections from both of them to be reviewed by the school committee?
Someone second that? Seconded by Mr. Leary. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both motions will be referred to the Personnel Subcommittee. All subcommittees available to the public. All subcommittees welcoming the people for their input. So the subcommittee, Personnel Subcommittee, is chaired by Regina Fattacanti. I believe it's, oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. It's chaired by Ms. Martin. And Ms. Fattacanti's a member, along with Mr. Conway. And you have three excellent members of this committee that will look at those two motions and come back with a recommendation that we all can be happy with, and especially the parents and the children. So we do have public participation, don't we?
Yes.
So I encourage anyone who would like to come to that microphone, just state your name and put some input, as long as we keep it 4 minutes or shorter. Who'd like to go first? Don't be bashful, come right up there. There you go.
Hi, my name's Victoria Fallberg. I live at 25 Fairmount Street. My daughter Marissa graduated from Lowell High last year, and my son Brandon is at the Sullivan. I'm also the director of One Lowell, which is a community-based organization that works with the schools to help truant immigrant and refugee students to increase their attendance. So I think that it is really great that the subcommittee is going to take this on and to really look at it. And when I looked through the motions, there were just a couple of things that sort of struck me. So one of them is that the greatest challenge I think that the new superintendent will face is working with all of the immigrant and refugee students, because minority students in Lowell are 59% of the student body. And in the motions, there was a recommendation for one minority parent to be on the subcommittee. But I don't think that's enough. Having only one person of color makes them a token, and that makes it very difficult for people on a committee with other people that have a lot of social and political power. It makes it very difficult to speak. And so I think that it would be really important that more people be considered, people of color from the city of Lowell, because it's just so important to these people that they get a superintendent that's really going to be able to address the needs of their children in the public schools. So that's one of the things I wanted to mention. One of the things is I did see that there was one representative from nonprofits, and I think that's great. I did like Mr. Leary's motion of letting the nonprofits themselves figure out who that might be the best person, because also the school committee does have a member of CTI at a very high level at CTI already who is part of the process. And the only other thing is that I think that maybe more than one person from a nonprofit would be equally as good if, two people from the for-profit community. So that's all I have to say. I know it's a very difficult process that everybody has to go through, and I know that everybody cares about the best interest of the children in the city of Lowell, so thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and I know the subcommittee and the entire committee will take that into consideration. Who would like to, there you go.
Good evening. My name is Mike Batchglupo. I live at 147 Humphrey Street on Christian Hill. I'm a member of Stand for Children and have worked with youth, school age, and preschool children in the city for about 10 years. And I'm also a proud product of the Lowell Public Schools. On behalf of Stand for Children, I would like to welcome Committeeman Dave Conway and welcome back Mayor Bud Caulfield to the school committee. And I'd like to thank committee members Jim Leary and Dave Conway for putting forth motions to form the selection committee for the superintendent's position. Stand for Children has advocated for an open, transparent, representative process. We feel both motions echo our call. These motions provide a good starting point to have a system in place. We are pleased to see that both proposals call for the inclusion of citizens, parents, and business people for the committee. We would like to see an expanded committee beyond the 9 or 10 suggested members to allow for the inclusion of more parents, the inclusion of more minority representation, and to include professional educators. The Lowell schools are diverse economically, ethnically, and include children with a wide range of abilities and needs. We feel this diversity should be taken into strong consideration and be reflective in the appointment of search committee members. We support the idea of making public as many of the phases of the process as possible and are strongly supportive of inviting community input into the process. Stand for Children would like to offer our organization's support in helping these community forums be well attended and successful, and welcome any opportunity the committee sees appropriate to participate and support the process, including identifying parents from our organization, other organizations, or parents that aren't affiliated with any organization. Ultimately, the school committee will make the final selection. We strongly encourage you, regardless of which system you agree upon, to select individuals that are reflective of the community, are dedicated to choosing the right candidate, have the expertise to do so, and are committed to an open and honest process. The selection of a superintendent is one of the most important duties that a school committee in the Commonwealth can do. We thank you for your attention and commitment to selecting the best candidate for the children of Lowell, and we wish you well. Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next, who would like to come to that microphone? Come on now, you come all the way down here. You get up to that microphone.
Good evening, Mayor and School Committee. I'm Liam Skinner, Principal of the Daly School, and I speak in part on behalf of veteran principals and all principals in the system, and respectfully request that you include a principal in the search committee. The principals are a very committed group of people. We actively study and practice leadership, and among our group we've worked with very many superintendents and have a very much we're very much a part of what's happening in our schools in Lowell, and have very much a vested interest in the success of our schools and in the success of the superintendent. The previous speaker spoke very eloquently, and one of his points was that this search committee should include people with expertise. I firmly believe that principals have that kind of expertise, and again, I respectfully request that you include us in the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to come and offer your input on this very important issue?
Hi, my name's Anita Downs. I live at 48 West Forest Street. I have 2 children at Lowell High School, and I'm the chair of CPC this year. And I just wanted to thank you all for listening to the things we've said the past couple of meetings, and for including as many people as you have in the superintendent search so far. I do believe that we do need to represent the diverse demographic in the city. I think that definitely more parents would like to be involved. One minority represents one group, and there are so many groups in the city. If it isn't through a parent, then it could be through the nonprofit. There are so many parents representative in different organizations within the city, so I'm hoping that you'll consider adding a few more people to the search committee. You've done a great job so far, and I hope that we'll continue to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you. Anyone else like to offer some input? No one else? Well, I want to rest assure you. Yeah, there you go. See that?
My name is Teresa Colina. I live on 71 Heritage Drive on Belvedere. Thank you so much tonight for the school committee and superintendent for being here and Mayor Caulfield. I actually wasn't prepared to come up here today. I was just here to support, obviously, this big search for the superintendent. I just want to say thank you very much for everything you've done. I mean, so far, you've done a tremendous job, and this would be definitely a hard search, and that's why I think this is a very important meeting to really come up with the next person to do this particular job. I'm a parent of 3 young children, 2 in the public school system, and one is a member of class 2024. So I definitely have a personal, vested interest for the quality of education here in Lowell. I'd like to second what Anita Downs had mentioned, and the lady before her. I think definitely we need a lot more representative, not only with the diversity group, but more parents to get involved in this. And I myself, that's why I'm coming here, because like I mentioned earlier, I do have a long vested interest in this search. And being a resident of Lowell also for the past 13 years, I definitely have seen a lot of improvements, both in the school and the community, and I'd like for that to continue. And definitely, if there is a room for more members for the search committee, I'd like to be considered for that kind of position, because I think it's really important for everybody to sort of get involved in this whole search. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to hopefully voice our opinion in the matter. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come to the microphone? If not, I just, as the mayor and the representative of this illustrious board, I want to assure you that the I will be dotted, the T will be crossed, and we'll make sure that we do our homework and get the community involved and make sure the next superintendent, no matter who he or she is, will be the best qualified candidate that's been interviewed. I assure you of that. I have a stake in this as well. My grandson attends the Daily School, and I think the Daily School is one of the greatest schools in the city. Mr. Skinner, you do a great job at the Daily School. And I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, Olivia, going on 12, I think, right now. But we have a stake in this process. So I just want to assure you that this will be done properly, and it will be done with the best interest of the 14,000 children that attend the Lowell Public Schools. And I want to thank you for your participation. You're welcome to stay. Watch. Yes, Ms. Martin.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say, while we do have such great attendance here this evening, what I would like to do is propose that we do try to schedule this personnel subcommittee as soon as possible.
Yes.
Hopefully before the next school committee meeting. If we can ask the superintendent's office to poll certainly not just the subcommittee members, but the full committee, to ensure that we can have as large a representation as possible, and to reiterate that those are public meetings, and it's something that I think for the organizations and perhaps even more importantly the individuals who are interested in being part of that conversation, even at this very initial stage, that a simple phone call to the superintendent's office would be able to let them know when that meeting was scheduled. It would be posted as the law requires, but it'll happen before the next meeting, just so everyone can be aware of that.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Leahy?
Thank you. I was going to echo the same comments, and what I was going to ask too is maybe we could even ask for it to be posted in the Lowell Sun, just to make sure that, how we normally post our meetings, but we could do an extra posting in the Lowell Sun. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to do that. And that way, we make sure we get it out. It's a public meeting. Everybody's invited to come down.
And I know that the chairperson, Ms. Martin, yes, you can take that to the bank. Ms. Martin and the entire subcommittee welcome you to that subcommittee meeting. It's open to the public. You're invited. So Okay, so I want to thank you for your participation, and I want to thank the committee for supporting this motion, these motions going to the Personnel Subcommittee, and you're going to see that that's very prudent, and the process is going to move along a lot smoother. Thank you very much. Yes, Madam
If
Superintendent.
I could just comment that in order to post the meeting, the earliest it would be, and get announcement in the paper, will be that it would be next Monday evening. We have a school committee meeting scheduled for next Wednesday. So to have it before the next meeting, it'll need to be either next Monday evening or Tuesday evening. And Tuesday evening, of course, the mayor is otherwise obligated. So I wonder if it's just worth checking now whether committee members are available.
I think that would be,
so that the
I mean, I
meeting,
can say I'm available on that Monday night. I don't know, but I want to make sure
it'd
everyone's
be Monday the
available.
14th?
No? Oh, okay. Well, we can maybe try to confirm that tomorrow? Okay.
All right,
So
so
as soon as we can,
we'll tentatively schedule for
Exactly.
the 14th, and but we'll try to confirm that tomorrow.
So it will be advertised and it will be posted, and so everyone will know when that meeting's going to happen, okay?
And we'll have it in a location that could accommodate participants, visitors.
And I just want to say one last thing. I know the committee and I are very happy to see this large turnout here. And it shows us your interest, your vital interest in this particular issue. So we appreciate you being here. Subcommittees, if we can accept the report, the Finance Subcommittee report of the minutes of the meeting of December 19, 2007 by Kevin McHugh, the chairman. Moved for approval by Mr. Conway, seconded by Ms. Doherty. All in favor of accepting those finance minutes signify by saying aye. Any opposed? It's adopted. On the subcommittee assignments, I finalized those today, and I did my best to appease and please everyone. And I just want to assure Ms. Martin, you are the chairperson of the Personnel Subcommittee. So, but the subcommittees have been finalized, and I believe you either received an email on that or some information.
Mr. Mayor?
Moving on with the meeting, yes, Mr. Conway.
Excuse me, we have a third motion, sir. We have a third motion. Because the mayor created a subcommittee, the school committee called community.
Oh, I'm
partners.
sorry.
We have
I'm sorry, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm very sorry, Mr. Conway.
But there's so
We
much
have a
noise in the back
motion.
here. Motion to accept the subcommittee assignments.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We have a second motion by David Conway, Mr. Conway, request that the mayor create a subcommittee of the school committee called Community Partnership, seconded by Ms. Martin. Mr. Conway.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the city of Lowell is a wealth of information and knowledge, and it certainly is a great opportunity for the school department. And if we take a look at some of the partnerships that we have in the city, for example, UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community College, and the business community, I think it's important, and also other various groups and organizations in the city, I think it's important that we have a subcommittee that focuses on the partnerships so that we can maximize our resources for our children and for the city of Lowell. And therefore, I would humbly appreciate my colleagues going along with this motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
It should be a roll call, something new. It should be a roll call vote.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
It should be a roll call. Some
You
new-
want a roll call, June? We'll have a roll call.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
I'm very agreeable.
Ms. Fattacante,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Okay. Now we can move on with the reports of the superintendent. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, you have on your tables a notebook that just is the information about the posting, the job posting that the school committee approved at its last meeting, and copies of the advertisements that are out and where it's being advertised, but prepared by Assistant Superintendent Mulligan.
Move to accept those
Approval to
reports.
accept the report to place it on file, Your Honor?
Seconded by Mr. Leahy. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, it carries. The report on the Pawtuckaville Memorial Elementary School, Madam Superintendent.
I-
Air quality, air quality.
I think if I could just, on the Pawtucket Memorial Elementary School air quality concerns, this is a follow-up report prepared by Assistant Superintendent Lang to me January 4th, providing an update to a prior report about air quality concerns that have been raised about the Pawtucket Memorial Elementary School. It's follow-up result of testing done at our request by the Department of Public Health, and you will see the results do not raise any major concerns. And I welcome questions to Mr. Lang if committee members have them.
Ms. Fattacani, then Mr.
Thank you, Your
Lang.
Honor. I got this report and spoke to Mr. Lang and was told that the air quality was just fine. I got some photos from the Pawtucket Memorial School, and I have to tell you, Your Honor, if I were looking at the photos, I would not believe this report. There was mold on the air vents. There was mold in other places of the building. If I was looking at the mold, I would be able to scrape it off with this report. Mr. Lang, through you, Your Honor, to Mr. Lang, has that been cleaned up?
Yes, at the time you showed me the photos, and at that time, since, that has been cleaned up, and the school
I don't think your microphone is on, Mr. Lang.
Can you hear this?
No,
Now?
no. Speak a little louder, but I'll be able to hear you.
Since the issuing of the first report, the custodial staff at the school incorporated regular cleaning of ceilings and ductwork into their regular schedule of activities, and that has been rectified. There were always going to be issues at the Pawtucket school because of the makeup of the HVAC system. The fact that the roofs in the classroom are actually made of metal, and there's a negative airflow that's actually gone across the perforated vents. It will take in dust particles, small particles, things of that sort, and actually keep them attached to the ceiling. The custodial staff, it's not working.
I think they turned it on.
Yeah, I tried, but it's not working. Oh, all right, all right. Sorry about that. The custodial staff at the school has made those recommendations, has incorporated them into the regular cleaning of the schools. We did have special crews go in right around the time of the first issuing of the report and actually do extra preventative cleaning. So it is an issue that both the school is aware of, as well as our district-wide maintenance team. They are being responsive and staying on top of the issue.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Leahy?
Thank you. The only comment, I was over there and I did check it out myself. And the only thing that I want to make sure that Mr. Lang has assured me is that I wanted the people at the school to know that there is a regular cleaning schedule that's going to be maintained. I mean, that's basically what they want to know. The report's very thick, and we can read it. There's no health concern there, but what we want to make sure is that we don't see it again. So I just wanted to assure everybody that it is going to get cleaned. If any time it starts to arise again, it will be cleaned. Thank you.
I can follow this up with Mr. Singleton and make sure that this is done properly, but I just want to assure the committee that this was signed by Susan K. Gordon, Associate Commissioner, Director of Bureau of Environmental Health from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I will take the time to visit that school and look for myself, Ms. Fattacani, okay? Okay?
I think the staff and myself, when I saw the photos, I thought to myself, of course I'd be worried about the air quality because I can see the mold. And when we can see something, sometimes it doesn't matter how often we're told it's not dangerous to us. So I think it's extremely important that we maintain a cleaning schedule which removes the mold from the places that it has been, because you know, Your Honor, once it begins to grow someplace, the spores are there all the time, and it's so much easier for the mold to regrow and reattach itself. So it's incumbent upon us to make the staff at that school feel much more at ease by maintaining a cleaning schedule which does remove that unsightly growth from that school. Thank you.
accept the report and place it on file by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All in favor? The
Aye.
report?
Aye.
Yes.
I said aye. I'm just
Okay.
agreeing with you.
Okay.
Yes. Aye, Captain.
New business?
There's one more report.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mayor, there's one more report is on the performance of our English language learners on state tests, and it's a one-page report we have received from the state. Now that the state has a statewide test of English language proficiency, it's possible to look at every student number of years in this district, look at their performance year to year as they acquire English language skills. And the state has established targets for every school district based on the initial testing. And they have targets in each area. First, the area of progress. That is, and you can see it here, the percentage of limited English proficient students whose performance increased by 2 or more steps between 2006 2007. So they looked at what our youngsters had done through 2006. They established through a statistical measure targets for us. Our state target was that 60% of the youngsters on the 2007 testing needed to demonstrate 2 steps of growth in order for us to meet the target for that year of developing youngsters' English language proficiency. So the target was 60%. Our youngsters, we exceeded that with 64% of our youngsters achieving that growth. And so on the area of progress, we earned a yes for meeting and, in fact, exceeding the state target. The second area they look at is attainment. So it's not enough that youngsters are making progress, but what's the level of English that they're attaining? And so that's the second category they call for of attainment. And overall, so this is the percentage of limited English proficient students who scored at the transitioning level, which is the level that youngsters are in for the longest period of time. Hopefully, they move through beginning to intermediate relatively quickly with a strong English language development program. They move into transitioning where they've got the basic, basic communication skills, but they're really having to develop academic language, which is the big challenge, to move from being able to speak colloquial conversational English, but instead be able to use real academic language for their work. And that stage always is a longer stage. So the state's looking to have at least 53% of our youngsters by 2007 be in the transitioning stage, and you can see that overall, again, we exceeded that target with 56% of our students making that attainment. So we modestly exceeded the state target on that level. The third way that the state looks at progress of limited English proficient students is to look at how they've done on the MCAS, both in math and in English language arts. So all youngsters, as long as they were in school before October 1st of a school year, take the MCAS in English, which is an incredible challenge for youngsters who are newcomers. But you can see most of our youngsters are not newcomers. They've been studying English for a while. So the state established the target for AYP for the district-wide, and in mathematics, we made our target. And that target keeps rising every year. So we made it in mathematics after that, but we did not make it in English language arts. So our limited English proficient youngsters did not meet the district target set by the state in English language arts. So that's the area that we've most got to concentrate on. So we made our exceeded the targets in 3 out of the 4 areas. And on the bottom of that report, it shows you that last year we only made 1 of the 4 targets the state test for gave us. This year we've made 3 out of the 4. So our progress is in the right direction. We have plenty of work to do. The targets keep getting higher, getting steeper. But I think our teachers and our youngsters deserve a lot of credit for working very hard to develop English language proficiency and to do it in the context of a very rigorous and challenging curriculum.
Ms. Mott?
Thank you very much. Just one quick question. Looking at this, and obviously this is a snapshot of our district, do you have a sense of how we measure up against other districts in the Commonwealth? I'm specifically looking at the state targets that were set. Now, is that 60% that's set statewide, and every district is compared against that? So do we have a sense of how many hit that target and/or, you know, exceeded it the way we did?
I don't have an answer tonight for that. There was a meeting held last Friday for English language learner coordinators and superintendents by the state of all the urban districts, and for the very first time, the state was able to produce detailed data for every school district in the Commonwealth that looks at a whole range of progress markers. And so we've not yet extracted the comparison on these, but we were actually able to use Lowell as the initial model in this pilot study. So we were able to start looking at Lowell compared to state data on a wide range of factors related to English language learners. So we have not yet been able to digest that data. It was about that. It was a lot of data, and we've not yet digested it, but I anticipate within the month that we would be bringing a report to you that would address that and other questions about our comparable status. What we did learn from that, from that preliminary look last Friday, is that our English language learner population is quite different from most of the cities, all the cities in the Commonwealth, because we have an unusually large Southeast Asian population, and of course our Southeast Asian language base is very different than Spanish or Portuguese or Haitian Creole and the other dominant languages in the state. So ours is a different looking population, and we need to take that into account as we compare our scores across districts. But we will be able to have some data, and it's very exciting to finally, after all these years, begin to be able to see some of the benefits of collecting the data on student assessment, on years of entry, on their LEP status, and it's now combined with how many hours a week they get of English language development instruction. It's tied to certification levels of teachers that teach them, the whole range of data that we now finally have access to that I think will help us be able to target resources and evaluate programs and target resources in the future so that we can accelerate progress for youngsters.
Thank you. And I think certainly the committee would look forward to getting that kind of, you know, really specific information once you've had a chance to distill the raw data. I do think that if we could start drawing some kind of causality relationships that we could really tie to teacher qualifications, to specific methods that are being used, that would just be hugely valuable as we're allocating resources as we go forward. And I think the only other area that I would like for us to pay some attention to is in these introductory years. As we look at the second and third year performance rates, they are lower. I think that kind of makes sense. We can certainly see why that would be reasonable, that with fewer years in the district, or necessarily perhaps even in the country, students don't perform as well. But I think in looking at comparing this to the district targets, it shows us that kind of initial entry is where we need to spend some particular time and effort.
Yes, Madam.
If I just could add, I want to let the committee know that we began to see this trend last year, our concern, and when we brought the budget recommendation last year in our substitution, our trade-offs, and we added 5 English language learner specialist teachers. Part of it was to address this problem that we simply did not have enough staffing to provide enough hours a week of English language development for our newest students in several of our schools. So we've not, I don't think we've fully rectified that problem, but the investment that you authorized last spring that we're now able to use this year, hopefully we'll see a difference because of that investment.
I think this report is very valuable. It's an excellent yardstick and to have in the future and to use as a guideline.
Make a motion, Your Honor, to
Ms.
place
Dougherty?
the report on file.
Excuse me?
Make a motion to accept the report and place
I think
it on
Ms.
file.
Dougherty would like to, you all set?
Thank you, Your Honor, through you to the superintendent. I just had a question. When we're looking at, we made 3 out of 4 of our goals, and specifically the one that looks at history. I know the way we've been teaching math has been much more focused on language, and I'm just wondering if you had some thoughts about, and maybe you kind of already touched on it earlier, why we were not able to make it with the ELA component but we did make it with the math component. If there's some other piece that we need to address in that area.
Well, I think that across the district, my hypothesis is that across the district, we saw dramatic improvements in mathematics, but 06 and 07 MCAS scores, and so those were reflected to some degree for our English language learners as well. The increase in English in the ELA MCAS was not as great as the increase in math for all students. So I think this trend parallels, this parallels what we saw citywide for all students. We saw this big jump in math MCAS scores.
Any more discussion on this report? Accept the report as report of progress by Ms. Fattacani, seconded by Mr. Leary. All in favor? It's
Aye.
by saying aye. Thank you. Now, we'll go- new business? No? Yes,
Your Honor,
Mr.
sure. I was wondering if we could do a suspension of the rules to bring up an
Yeah.
issue.
You want to read that letter? The unsigned
about-
letter? The one
No,
that's unsigned?
It's
Okay.
about, well, it's about snow plowing.
Okay.
Okay.
To bring up what? Suspension of the rules to do what?
To speak about the snow issue
Okay.
at the schools.
Move for suspension of the rules, seconded by Ms. Martin. All in favor of the suspension?
Aye.
Any opposed? The suspension's in order.
Thank you. What I wanted to bring up tonight is just the issue of the snow removal at the schools. Unfortunately, before Christmas, we didn't have any more city council meetings. So last night, we had the first city council meeting. And what I wanted to bring up is the, last year, I thought we had come to an agreement between DPW and the school department and the parks department that we had a color-coded map drawn up, and I thought that this year we were going to be all set. The plowing at the schools, be it our department or the city department, it's been horrendous this year. I know we had 3 big storms in a row, but the safety of the kids, and we can't overlook this. We've got to do a better job all around. I think not only the schools, clearing of the snow, the sidewalks, the parking lots, but the roads going up to the schools. Now, a few years ago, the school committee cut transportation to save money for the district. But in doing so, we have more kids walking. We increase the mileage. Some of these kids, the middle school kids, walk 1.75 miles. I've seen a big improvement on sidewalk shoveling this year, but it's not good enough. The roads aren't wide enough. The sidewalks, some of them aren't clear. The piling up of the snow on the corners this year is awful. I've never seen it as bad. So I would like this committee I'd like to make a motion that we send, I apologize, I talked with Miss Doherty this afternoon about this, but we need to meet with, did we say our transportation committee? No? Well, I was asking you, yeah.
I thought we were just going to usually have a meeting, but ask the city to work with our
Okay,
transportation.
well, we need to direct the superintendent to work with the proper departments to clear this up, because it's horrendous out there. Today, I worked over by the Bailey and Daly schools. St. Paul Street, on the right-hand side of the road, it wasn't plowed 7 feet from the edge of the road. So imagine 7 feet out of that road, then the cars are parked to pick up the kids, and then traffic trying to come down. And I know that you've taken a few calls on this, but what I've seen personally where I live near the Riley and Sullivan schools, I mean, it's awful that we expect our kids to walk to school on the roads when they're not wide enough. So I don't want to point fingers, I just want to move forward from this point. But during these snowstorms, we need to make sure that the roads are plowed as wide as they can be. I think tearing up somebody's lawn and replanting some grass seed in the spring is a lot better than, God forbid, someone get hit by a plow. The corners need to be knocked down. We need to stop piling snow on our corners, especially when we invested all that money on ramps, new curbing, ramps, then we pile them up with snow. So I think I would ask my colleagues to take a hard stand on this tonight and ask for your support, that we really send a strong message over, and we need to work on this and do a better job in the future, because we can't ask our kids to walk to school if we're not going to properly plow the streets and the sidewalks. Thank you.
Mr. Doherty?
Thank you, Ron. I just wanted to add one thing, because my colleague did mention transportation, and how our transportation department came up was during the discussion this afternoon with Frank Singleton over from the health department. He pointed out this idea of communicating priorities. We know where the schools are, right?
Who brought
Frank-
this up, Mr. Singleton?
We were talking with Mr. Singleton this afternoon.
He's the director of the Board of Health.
The health department.
Oh, okay.
Did I say that?
That's good to know, okay.
But no, Mr. Leahy brought it up with Mr. Singleton.
And he happened to be there, but
He
I don't-
made
yeah.
if I could just
Go
make a
ahead,
point.
sorry.
He made a good point that I think really it's not about pointing fingers at anyone. It's just communicating better. And this is how the transportation department came up. Mr. Singleton's point was, we know where the schools are. We know the streets around the schools. But the health department doesn't know where the bus stops are. That if he had a conversation, got information with our transportation director, John Dakota, which I think this would be fairly simple to accomplish. I mean, that's one more step in getting those priority locations lined up so that the city knows, you know, we've got kids at this point on Westford Street, that point on, very busy streets where some of these bus stops are. I mean, this is aside from the widening of the streets for the plaza, a point that my colleague mentioned earlier. But this another piece of it in terms of we have kids on these high snow mounds on busy streets waiting for buses. It's just an accident waiting to happen. And I think some of it is just communication. So part of what we're asking to do tonight is to say, if the school department, via our transportation office in particular, can work more closely with the city to clarify what are those priority areas, and also the concerns that my colleague mentioned earlier about making sure the streets are widened enough and the corners and all that. I think we all want the same thing here. We want to keep the streets as clean and safe as possible for our children, and that's really the basic point. But I thought Mr. Singleton's point about the bus stops was a good one and easily solved just by communication, and I just wanted to add that point. Thank you.
But could I just say one more thing? To clear it up, which may sound funny to people at home, is that the health department is in charge of making sure the sidewalks are clear. So maybe, you may want to change that and put the responsibility back on DPW, and may want to keep it the way it is. But that's how Mr. Singleton's involved. He has to go around with his inspectors to do the ticketing, even though he doesn't do any snow removal. And it's just very frustrating because especially other motions that kind of relate to safety, which I've brought up in the past about crossing guards, the crossing guards are in the street themselves because there's no place for them to stand on the corners or wherever. So it's a big safety issue, and I know that all of this in the end costs money, but it could be reorganized. We've talked many times about sidewalks on Campbell Drive. That's going to take some money. But even on a good day, there's not any room on Campbell Drive. So imagine that with 3 feet of snow and the snowbanks. It's awful. And as Councilor Rita Mercier said last night, which I heard on the meeting, an accident happens in a second. So it doesn't matter that it's congested for half an hour to 40 minutes at 7 to 7:45 and only 2:30 to 3 in the afternoon. It may only be an hour in the total day, but it takes 1 second for one student to get hurt, and that's what we're concerned about. Thank you.
Mr. Leahy, I'm very cognizant of the fact that the streets and sidewalks should be safe. And I also know that the city of Lowell plows every sidewalk within a 1.5-mile radius of every school. They try and attempt to do that. Now, this storm, or storms that we had this past winter, the entire state of Massachusetts didn't have any salt. No salt. They ran out of salt. The entire state, not just Lowell. And that was really hurting our method of addressing that issue. There's 1,400 streets in the city, And I do know that T.J. McCarthy and the DPW staff, many of those people work around the clock to address the roads and so forth. And you just can't say, Mr. Plow Driver, get that street cleared. It's a difficult task. And we go through this every year, but I think the most negative thing we have in the city is people are not shoveling their sidewalks. And I can get down Stevens Street and see 100 yards of sidewalk that's been shoveled, and the next 100 yards, it's not. And Manager Lynch is deriving a way to address that. And I agree with you. The children who are walking to school cannot walk out in the street. And just 2 days before Christmas, at one of the supermarkets in our city, there was a young man in a motorized wheelchair, and he had to go from that supermarket up Westford Street, and he had to go on the street. The sidewalks weren't plowed. So Manager Lynch is addressing that. T.J. McCarthy's on top of it. But we were waiting in line in Chelsea, in line with other city and town departments begging for salt. And when we finally got it, we addressed the issue, but there was no salt to be found. But hopefully the warm weather we've had, certainly must have made a big difference in the snow. But once again, on the school ground property, I think that's the jurisdiction of the custodian to make sure those sidewalks are addressed and so forth. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with someone just going out there and doing a little part of, helping out. We only have so many DPW workers, and this year it was tough to get contractors, and it's a real tough job. So
I agree, and I appreciate everything you said. And we did have a good conversation. We happened to run into the city manager after a meeting today at City Hall, and he agrees, and he'd like to expedite this. But I just, I respectfully, I'm not going to stop pointing fingers, but as a parent that walks 2 kids to school, you can't tell me that we can't widen the streets. And I only say that because I myself and my kids have almost gotten hit, and I'm very upset about that. So there's no excuse for not widening the roads. And it only takes 1 second for someone to get hit by a car. But I'm willing to, I don't want to stop blaming people. We're going to move forward, and I just hope that we can do a better job. This has kind of been a pet peeve of mine for years now, and you guys can all attest to it. I don't know how many times I bugged previous mayors about the shoveling and the plowing, but whatever happened this year happened. It's in the past. Let's just move forward.
Okay, thank you. There's no new business. Excuse me?
Under new business, conference convention requests.
Oh, yes, okay. You want me to read this, madam? Okay.
Move approval, Your Honor.
Move approval by Ms. Fattacandi, seconded by Mr. Leary. All in favor? Will you roll call on that?
Yes,
Take
it's
a roll
money.
call,
It's
please.
the money.
Yes, June.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Miss Doherty,
Yes.
Miss Fattacante.
Yes?
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Absolutely.
Miss Martin,
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Communications? Any communications? Professional personnel?
Motion to adjourn.
Before we adjourn, I just want to say that the first meeting sometimes is a tough meeting, and this meeting was excellent. And I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 2 years. And we have one goal in mind, to make the school district for the children in Lowell that much better. And God bless you. Move to adjourn by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leahy. Thank you.
Adjourn 8:02.
Yeah.